fulfill them. And Krishna acknowledges that. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna says, Ami Vigya, because I'm smarter than these guys. They're approaching me for something material. I'm smarter than they are. So what I'll do is I will fulfill them, but I'll do it in such a way that they'll never ask for a material thing again. He says, I'll catch them, because I'm smarter than they are. But we should understand that our objective should be pure devotion. Lord Chaitanya has said, Nadananda Jananda Sundari. That should be our consciousness as sadhakas. And then for the perfect people, like he defines consciousness for sadhakas, he defines consciousness for perfect people. So our consciousness should be Nadananda Jananda Sundarim Kavitam Vajagadish Kamai Amajanmai Janmanishwari Bhavata Bhakti. And for the perfect people, Aslishiva Pradatam Panashtumah. Crush me by your embrace, trample me, break me broken-hearted by never showing yourself to me. You can do anything that you want to, because after all, you're just a debauchee. We can't expect much more out of you. That's the way they speak to Krishna. Do whatever you want to, because we know that you're like, we question your character. You can do whatever you want to, but you will always be my Lord. I'll never give you up, under any circumstance. That's pure devotion. Or it's like, Prabhupada always used to give the example of Jesus Christ. He always said Jesus Christ is a pure devotee. So, Jesus Christ hanging on the cross, what are the last words that comes out of his mouth? Next to the last sentence, as he looks up, he says, Father, why did you forsake me? And then the last thing he says is, now I'm giving my life into the hands of my Father. Meaning, you can forsake me, I'll never forsake you. And that's devotion. Unmotivated devotion. So ahaituki and then apratiyata. And apratiyata means it should go on constantly. It's not that we do it for 5 minutes in the morning or 2 hours in the morning and then we don't do it the course of the day. But the devotional service should be consistent. And that really sort of ties in to the point which is being made here, that say you become old and feeble and you can't go out and do books anymore, or say you have a heart attack, or say you become crippled or something or other. Does that mean that your life of devotional service ends? No, because here he's talking about whether it's gross or subtle, meaning within the mind, it's acceptable by Krishna. And Krishna makes the point when he begins discussing bhakti in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The first thing he says is Maya Shakti Manaha Partha Yogi Marashra. He says your mind should be attached to me. And then the greatest instruction that he gives, Prabhupada says that the greatest instructions of the Vedas are Mammana Bhagavat Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mahavivayasya Satchante Pratijani Pivasine Sarvadharmam Prityancha Malikam Shadavipajad. He says, always think of me. Always think of me with love. Become my devotee. Worship me. Offer your obeisances to me. If you do these 4 things, I, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make a promise to you, with all the sincerity of my heart, that I will bring you to me, because by you doing these 4 things, you would become absolutely dear to me. You see? Krishna says, Pratijani priyosime. He says, Pratijani means pratigna, it means promise. Krishna says, I promise to you. So if I say, I promise to you, it doesn't mean so much because I'm just a person of this world. But if the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, I make a promise to you, and then he says, he says, what is it? He says, Manmanava Matbhakto Majajimam Namaskuru Mam Ivais Isti Satyam Te. He says, with all the truthfulness, Satyam, with all the truthfulness of my heart, I make a promise to you. I'll bring you to me because you become my Priya. If you just fix your mind on Krishna, absorb your mind in Krishna. So in that sense, we can understand that pure devotional service can go on without any impediment under any circumstance. But the mind must be fixed on Krishna. So that's like the direction of the devotee. The devotee will always make the endeavor to absorb the mind and thinking of the topics of the Lord, and absorb the mind and hearing the holy names of the Lord. And the devotee will sincerely use his body in the service of the Lord. And the devotee of the Lord will sincerely use his words for explaining the glories of the Lord. And then Srila Rupa Goswami, he says that if a person is using body, mind, and words consistently in the service of Krishna, then he is known as Jiva Mukta, which means he's liberated, even though he's living within this world. So that's our side of the deal. How much will we commit to that? Will we commit to that 100%, or will we take it easy? See, that's up to us to decide. We've been told, but what is the saying? You can drag a horse to the water, but you can't make a horse drink. So we have been empowered with the tools by which we can do it. But then you have to make a decision, or we all have to make a decision, if we will accept the empowerment and do the correct thing. What do you think, Drew? Is that correct or incorrect? Huh? Well, Krishna consciousness is a subjective experience, meaning we're going to have to do it ourselves. I heard one lecture, Prabhupada was talking at this point, Prabhupada said, don't expect your husband to make you Krishna conscious. And then Prabhupada said, don't expect your wife to make you Krishna conscious. He was chuckling. And he said, and don't expect the temple president to make you Krishna conscious. And then Prabhupada said, and don't even expect me to make you Krishna conscious. I'm simply acting as Krishna's representatives. And I've given you the tools of empowerment that Krishna gives to everyone by which they can become self-realized. Will you use the tool or not? Just like at the end of the whole talk, what does he say? He says, Arjuna, you've heard everything, now what are you going to do? It's up to you. Do you choose to be in Maya? Do you choose to remain in the bodily conception of life, or are you going to, as we say in our terminology, are you going to knuckle down, buckle down? Are you going to do it? That's the choice. And if we make that choice, there's never an impediment. We have a nice godbrother, his name is Sundarupa. Did you ever know Sundarupa? In the old days, he was Govinda Maharaja from Italy. Yeah. He's a real nice devotee. And he's a genius. He's a genius. Back during the times of Bhagavan Maharaj, all these good ideas about preaching that were coming out, they always came out of Sundarupa. And Bhagavan Maharaj was just the face that sold the idea. Sundarupa was like the ideologue. He was a genius. And when he was a young devotee, when he was a grihasta, he lived in Chicago Temple. And he was like one of these guys, so smart, so enthusiastic, loving to preach constantly. And then the temple president one day decided to get him married to one young lady that had come to the movement. And the young lady, she had something like 4 children already from 4 different husbands or something like that. So she was kind of a problem case, this woman, you know, a troubled person. But the temple president decided to, you know, bestow some divine grace on Sundarupu, you know. So made a marriage arrangement, and then the GBC came by. And the GBC was a tough sannyasi. And the GBC told him, he said, well, now you can't preach anymore. You have to move out, and you have to go to work, and you're just going to have to slog it out. And Sundarupa got in a dilemma, and he was thinking, because I have a family, why do I have to stop preaching?